Well, I rounded the corner and just about had a heart attack. Anyway, let's see what's on this podcast. Welcome to episode 41.
Welcome to the show.
Well, welcome to the episode. This is The Real Truth About You. My name is Will Sinclair, and I'm your host for today. And this is The Real Truth About You, and this is a show where we try to help you to become the best possible person that you can be by discovering and living the true you. So I have to, for those of you who are not familiar with this, my wife and I, we live out in a camp. We live in a bush, in the bush, on the side of a lake, and we run a kids camp that has a year-round retreat house. So we get animals, because we're right in the forest, basically. We get all kinds of animals passing by our house, and the other day I saw a big moose. If you haven't seen one, Google one. M-O-O-S-E for moose, and they're big animals. And going by our window, and that's not uncommon for us. But I was where I record my podcast is in a cabin behind our house. We have a small kind of bachelor type house, and so I have this cabin that I've turned into a small cabin, 16 by 16 wooden cabin that turned into a little studio here for podcasting and stuff like that. And I was just coming around the house, and as I turned the corner, there's this big female doe, a deer, right? And it's just, she got as scared as I did, and she just bolted off into the forest, and I just almost bolted out of my body. And anyway, made it to my cabin, and but I'll tell you one thing, Eckhart Tolle talks about living in the present, living in the now, not living in the future or the past, but living right in the present moment. And there's nothing like a heart attack like that, so to speak, meeting a big animal as you turn around the corner to bring you right into the present moment. So anyway, this show today, where I'm just going to be talking a little bit, it's the last show of 2016. We're only a few more days away from the new year. We're heading into 2017. Of course, it doesn't matter about podcasting, because the beauty of podcasting is you can listen to it whenever you want. So this is whatever year you want to make it. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, am I struggling for something to say? I don't know. But anyway, I thought I would look a little bit, starting off, I would look a little bit about some of the books I've been reading. And this year anyway, they say so many psychologists, and that will tell you that you become the environment you place yourself in. You become the environment you place yourself in. So if you're in a negative environment all the time, then you are going to slowly become negative in your outlook. And if you're in a positive environment, you'll eventually become positive in your outlook. And if you were to look at the habits of highly successful people, especially people who are successful in business, and I mean healthily, so I mean not people who are workaholics, addicted, and all that kind of stuff, and their egos driving them, but people who are healthily successful in business, most of those people surround themselves with people who emulate what you want to be like, what they want to be like. So if you want to be a successful in business, hang around people who are successful in business. If you want to be healthy in your lifestyle and your eating, then hang around people who eat healthy and have, healthy bodies. And I'm not saying just to stick with people like that, but I'm saying be with people that you want to emulate, that you want to, what's your goal in life? What do you want? What do you want in life? You know, the new year, we always say, hey, let's make some New Year resolutions. I don't go for New Year resolutions. I think you should be making resolutions every day of your life. But anyway, but if you choose to make resolutions, way to go. That's good for you too. But try to be around people that, that model the lifestyle that you want and are healthy in their outlook. And that's the biggest thing, because that's what this podcast is about. This podcast is about discovering who you truly are, who you are down in the depths of your being, and discovering the true and real you. And it's in those depths that you discover yourself, right? And so, I mean, that's something that I've been on this journey for. And so following along with that you become the environment you place yourself in. I'm not an avid reader per se, in the sense of actually reading words, because I'm a very slow reader. And that's probably why I'm drawn to podcasting, and why you're probably listening to a podcast is I like audiobooks. I just love audiobooks. And I went to, there's an organization online, it's owned by Amazon now, but I think I actually met the owner of this company long ago. It's called audible.com. And I think I met this, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I met this guy in Las Vegas in the USA, in Las Vegas, and I was at a conference for internet marketing, and I ran across this guy, and he was talking about the future of books. And it was just a guy who was taking in this conference on internet marketing. And I kind of passed him off a little bit because he was a little bit nerdy, and I wasn't quite there at the time for, and I'm sure I had my own things that people passed me over for. But anyway, he was a nice guy, but he was talking about the future of books, and he had spoken, he'd recorded some books and put them online, and he was testing it out to see what the market was like. And I'm almost 100% sure, this was quite a number of years ago, that he said his website domain was called audible.com, right? audible.com, audible.com. And Audible is probably now the number one site for downloading audiobooks. And I get a lot of my audiobooks from there. And I think they're an Amazon company now. And but yeah, if you're looking for audiobooks, and they have an app that can go on your phone, and it remembers the books that you've been listening to when you stop listening at a point. It remembers where you listened, where you stopped at, and across all your devices and everything. It'll remember where you stopped, and it'll start back from there. And you can jump around if you want, and you can also create notes. So you can actually create a note at a point. You can pause it if you want to, and you can create a note, and you can type in something that sparked your imagination, or something, that you want to write an idea you wrote down, or a note about what you just heard. And it remembers all those things and feeds them back to you. And it's pretty good. So audible.com, hey, there's a little advertisement there. And I don't get a penny for that. What the heck, hey? But anyway, I love audiobooks. But I have been buying some physical books too. The audiobooks I've been listening to is, I listened to Wayne Dyer, and he's pretty cool. You might want to give him a look. See, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Wishes Fulfilled. And all of these people, they tend to give their slant on life, what they've discovered and what they believe, and then you can take what you take the best and leave the rest. We used to do Amway years and years ago, and that's one of the things we learned was take the best and leave the rest and move on. So I actually got his book too, Wishes Fulfilled, Mastering the Art of Manifesting. So I have the paperback and I have the audiobook. My latest book I'm reading, I've got a bunch on the go right now. One's an ebook, and you can hear it clicking there, and it's called The Divine Dance by Richard Rohr, and it's a brand new 2016 book. And it's actually quite eye-opening if you've ever looked into God in your life, or the divine, or the creator, whatever you want to call. And he's got a really good book about the flow of God, the flow of energy, the flow of the Spirit, and how God is in everything, and how our perception of God may be skewed, that kind of stuff. And so anyway, but it's a really good book, The Divine Dance by Richard Rohr. I just finished his other book, The Immortal Diamond, and by Richard Rohr. And Richard Rohr is a Catholic contemplative priest. He's a Franciscan, and just amazing things he talks about. So if you want to hear some of his stuff, I would download his audiobooks, or, go to the bookstore and buy his. I'm also reading a book called Nujeen, Nujeen, and it's about a 16-year-old girl who is a refugee from Syria, if you want to use that term. And it's all about what was going on in Syria. And she just arrived. I think she's in Germany, and it's very recent. It's a very recent 2016 book, and it's by an award-winning author. And he tells her story, and in her first person, or she tells the story, Christina Lamb. And so anyway, they've written this book together, and she's got I think it's MS, something like that. And so it's just her story of what it was like in Syria. If you want to get an idea of what it's like to live in a war-torn country that's ravaged by war in your everyday life and what it's like, read that book. And if you want to find out what her journey was like, and her courage, and just cooperation of everyone along the way, and the pitfalls they fell into, and people who sold other people, and just amazing. But if you want to read this, I'm about halfway through it right now, and I'm looking forward to finishing that. I'm also reading a book by a friend of mine, actually, called Kenneth J. Kerr, and it's called Your Number One Relationship: Experiencing God Beyond Religion Changes Everything. Experiencing God beyond religion changes everything. And it's about how he used to be a Christian pastor, and it's not a put down of churches or anything like that, or I have something on my chip on my shoulder and I hate Christianity now and blah blah blah. But he used to be a Christian pastor, and he ended up dropping out of the church, and yet he still discovered God. And to him, God is still fully alive in his life, and even in a deeper way. So anyway, you can read that, Kenneth J. Kerr, and his is a self-published book, and he has quite a lot of books out, and this is one of his good books. And you could, I think it's kennethjkerr.com. You could probably get it from. Anyway, Your Number One Relationship. I've also been reading a book called Writing Wild, and this Writing Wild is a book for writers. I decided I am going to write another book. I co-wrote a book on relationships with my wife. It's called Dirty Socks and Banana Bread. And all about that, there's something about banana bread, or any kind of bread, but especially banana bread, to me was like coming fresh out of the oven. It's kind of like soft and gooey, especially if there's any chocolate chips or anything like that in. It's just delicious. And so that was part of the book, Banana Bread. And then the Dirty Socks is like the everyday living. So everyday relationship living, and it's called Dirty Socks and Banana Bread. You can get that on Amazon. But I decided to write another book. And I'm going to write a book a little bit about my journey and what I've learned, and what I've learned about silence and connecting to a timeless God, and all that kind of stuff. And just in my journey in the last few years especially. And I think I have a story to tell. And Najeen, when I was reading her book, she said that everybody has a story and this is mine. And so I'm saying, yeah, everybody has a story and this is mine. So I'm going to be writing a book, so you can look for that, probably coming out in 2016. Just started it. If anybody's out there that loves to write, I actually just bought software called Scrivener, and it's just amazing book writing software. But anyway, this Writing Wild is all about connecting to nature and connecting to divine energy around you, and how to allow that to influence your writing and bring out the creativity in you. I actually downloaded a book that I'm going to read about Da Vinci and about his mind and about divine energy and just the creativity that was in his mind. So I'm going to listen to that too. I'm also listening to Eckhart Tolle. If you ever get a chance, listen to Eckhart Tolle or read Eckhart Tolle, and his book is called The Power of Now. The Power of Now. And you will be amazed at this book. This I'm about halfway through listening to all these books. I'm the kind of person I can't just have one thing on the go. I have to have like 17 or 20 things on the go at the same time, not to fill up my time, but it's the way I work, the way my strengths work, the way my personality works. I've always got to be doing something new. I talked about that way back in episode 1, and here we are, episode 41. But I have to be reading quite a few books at a time, and I glean lots of different things from each book. And The Power of Now, I'm about halfway through, and it's just amazing how Eckhart Tolle talks about that there's no future and there's no past. They don't exist anymore. All that exists is the present moment. And I've talked about that before, and that's what I tend to be. I'm kind of trained as a magazine article writer. That was my thing, nonfiction articles, and I used to write for online content for online magazines and whatnot, and online content provider companies. That's one of the things, many things that I did. And anyway, so I love to glean information from all different kinds of sources, and I love to bring them all together and then present them. So with my twist to them. And that's what a magazine writer does. When you read a magazine article, you're reading like tons of research that's all been pint-sized down, I guess you would call it, down to bite-sized pieces and put cohesively in a coherent article that you get to read and get a lot of information out of, and then you get the author's bent on it a little bit. So because it's always flavored, it's always interpreted. So I love to take things from books and then bring it all together and then let you know about it. And, I mix it into my life. Whatever I read, I apply to my life. And like Eckhart Tolle's book, I listen to it, listen to a chapter, and then I live that chapter. And I experience that chapter, and then I go and I listen to the next chapter. And not always like that, but that's the way a lot of these books tend to work for me. And sometimes I go back to the previous chapter or whatever it is, but I incorporate what I read into my life and what I listen to into my life. So I'm definitely becoming the environment I'm placing myself in, and I just love it because I'm so much more at peace than I've ever been. I don't have all the anger flare-ups. I still get angry. I'm not saying I don't, but I don't have all the anger flare-ups. I used to get not angry, but I used to get into a rage. And I would punch holes in walls. And I think I've mentioned this before. And I would break desk drawers at home and rulers. And I was just like angry. And I would get into this rage. I don't get into that anymore. I do still get angry once in a while, right? But now I start to realize that I'm angry rather than just living in that anger. I actually realize I'm angry, and that's a big difference in consciousness and awareness. But that's what this journey's done for me. It's established a lot of inner peace in me. The depths of where the divine is. It's in the depths, in the quietness, in the stillness, in the timelessness. I used to believe that there was a thing called time, and now I'm not so sure. In fact, I'm almost 100% sure there's no such thing as time. It's a measurement tool that we use, but we've become almost enslaved to this. Not saying the measurement of time is not valuable, because it's very valuable, but it's just a tool. But we've become enslaved to this thing, and we think in the future, and we dwell in the past, and we've just become a slave to time, and it causes so much stress and anxiety. And if we just took a break, take a time out, so to speak, a time out from time, enter into timelessness, because that's where God is. That's where the divine is. That's where all this inner peace, the inner joy, inner strength is in timelessness. If you talk to a bird and say, what time is it? Bird wouldn't have a clue. If you ask a tree how old the earth was, which is, I just found out, it's about 4.5, is it million or billion? I can't remember. Years old, whatever it is. I just found that, I think it's 4.5 billion years old. The earth itself, the universe, they reckon about, from all the tests and all the things they can do, about, 13.7 billion years old, give or take 58 million years, But we are in a space of timelessness. We're in a space of timelessness. If you ask a tree how old the world is, wouldn't know it, wouldn't have a clue, and wouldn't care, right? If the tree could talk back to you, wouldn't even care. Just lives in the present moment, and that's what we're called to do. Another book I have been reading is called First Spiritual Exercises, and it's the first spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius Loyola. And St. Ignatius, I call him St. Ignatius because that's what the Catholic Church has made him a saint, but I have different views of what saint actually is now. But anyway, despite that, he was a commander in the army, and he got injured, and the only thing for him to read in the hospital, and this is hundreds and hundreds of years ago, in the hospital was the Bible. And so he read the Bible, and he ended up having this real inner conversion experience, and he went basically and became a hermit for months on end. And it's kind of like the Buddha in a sense, went away and just discovered God and came out with all these what you call spiritual exercises, things that you can do to become more aware of God in your life. And so anyway, those are the books I am reading right now. So I got a lot of books on the go. What are you reading? What are you listening to? And what kind of TV shows are you listening to? What are you watching? What are you doing to become the person that you want to become? Let me know. Let me know. You can email me at support@therealtruthaboutyou.com, or you can go to therealtruthaboutyou.com and use our contact form. That's always another way to do it. But yeah, let me know. What are you doing? This is the end of 2016, and sometimes it's good to review where you've come from, because it is. It's just sometimes you don't realize how far you've come until you see where you are. And yeah. Anywho, what else can I talk about? I don't know. Maybe this is time to shut her down for 2016, and then we'll be moving into 2017. Just so you know, I watched The Big Bang Theory. I really love that show. It's really funny. It's a North American comedy show. Gotta admit that I watch it. I do, and I think it's hilariously funny most of the time. But anyway, what else? I don't know. You tell me. You tell me what you'd like to hear. Where's your struggles in life? What are you going through? What would you like to know more about? Is it your relationship? Is it your relationship with your partner? Is it your relationship with yourself? Have you learned how to love yourself? Have you learned how to reach the depths of your soul? Have you learned how to sit in silence? Mother Teresa was really big for that. And she always said that if you have a super busy day, she used to sit for an hour a day and in silence and meditation and prayer. And then she said if she had a super busy day, then she'd sit for 2 hours. Does that mean she got up probably earlier? Yeah, probably. She probably got up earlier. But so what is it in your life? What is it you want to know? What is it we can talk about together? Let me know, because I am really, really super interested in finding out. Anyway, we are coming to the end of this show, the end of 2016. Of course, in your time, it could be anything. It could be anytime, anywhere. It's the day before my birthday, actually. This is actually the 29th of December. And I'm going to be turning 57 tomorrow. That is, tomorrow relative to where I am today. It's December 30th. I was born December 30th, 1959. So I am 57 years old. Hopefully I'm not giving away any identity stuff. Anyway, I've been kind of rambling on today. This is the podcast for today. I'm Will Sinclair. You've been listening to The Real Truth About You, and you can go to therealtruthaboutyou.com and download whatever that we have there. I've got some recipes there or some insights into stuff, got more episodes. And if you ever think of it, and if you ever subscribe on iTunes or Google Play or something like that, or if you don't, then go there and subscribe, because the show gets more popular that way. I get higher ratings when the more people that subscribe. So pass the show around if you wouldn't mind, and help me to grow the show. We're in about 24 countries right now, and it's really exciting to hear that and see that. And anyway, I am going to sign off for 2016. By the time you listen to it, it's probably already 2017, or maybe it's 2025. I don't know. But anyway, all the best to you. You're in my thoughts. You're in my prayers. And I love you guys tons and tons and tons. Be super, super blessed. And have an awesome, awesome day, because you absolutely, absolutely rock.